We're good.
Sweet. Okay, guys. Welcome to the next meeting. Austin, or open.
Yeah, no problem. I normally follow this along to the opportunity to be here together and to learn more about entrepreneurial management. Father, we ask that we might be guided by that Spirit. We're discussing the things that we are guided to discuss. Father, we say these things so humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks. Does anyone have a spiritual thought or some scriptures they've been reading that they could share with us?
Oh, I got something kind of cool.
Sweet.
It's like not a spiritual thought, but I learned it in my religion class, so that's worth it. So apparently, I'll try to be quick. So in Jerusalem, the streets used to be like super nasty because all the animals would be tracking like in the roads, right? Mm-hmm. And so every now and then, so when Christ said that we're the salt, like we're the salt that makes the sacrifice sweet and whatnot, because like salt on meat will make it taste sweeter and junk. And anyway, so he talks about this, and like when you say someone salted the earth. Anyway, so in Jerusalem, the roads would be just like caked with urine and dung, right? Because of all these animals. So what they do is their two carts would be coming through, and one cart would be shoveling all the old like manure and like urine and stuff into this cart, and then the other one would be chucked full of like used salt because it's an absorbent, and then they would put salt all over the roads because it would absorb the smell and like the dung and urine and stuff to help with cleanliness, right? Well, at the one side of Jerusalem, they had a gate that was actually called Dung Gate in their language. Mm-hmm. And they would go through it, take this cart through, and they would dump all the manure on this like one hill, right, all the time. And they would just keep dumping manure, and it was smoldering, like it was always burning. It wasn't like flames burning, but it was like heat, you know what I mean? And just smoldering all the time. So it just smelled so bad over here, right? Yeah, my religion teacher studied abroad in Jerusalem, and he learned all this like from historians and whatnot. Anyway, so he's telling us about it. So apparently in their language, this pile of dung was actually, they called it, the word translates into English, lake of fire and brimstone, which is kind of interesting. So when Christ is teaching everyone, talking about the torment of hell and like what it would be like, he says the torment would be like forever being in a lake of fire and brimstone. He's literally telling them like the worst thing I think of is you being in a burning pile of poop forever. And like, that's literally what he was quoting in that language. It's like the same translation. And I was like, dude, that's crazy, man. Like it wasn't something that we couldn't understand, like lake of fire and brimstone, like what is that? He was literally kind of like making an analogy to something that they knew, like, that pile of poop over there? Yeah, that's like being in there for eternity, like the lake and fire and brimstone. Yeah. So, I think it was I was like, dude, that's cool, man. That's cool to know. Anyway, like I said, what?
Like that's so cool because we would never, it doesn't relate to us, but it related to them. That's cool.
Yeah, like it's kind of random to us, right? But like I said, it's not very spiritual, but I'm like, hey, it's something about the Bible, sure.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. Makes me want to be more spiritual so I don't turn into that. So.
I do not want to suffer there.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, it froze for a second.
Oh no.
He froze.
Or he's really, really still.
His hand, the way his hand is, there's no way.
Yeah. Oh man.
That sucks. And he's the one guiding the discussion, huh?
Yeah, that's not good.
He should come back soon. Or else he'll drop the call and rejoin.
Maybe, yeah.
I wonder if he can hear us.
All right, so you're studying to be in your
supply chain. Supply chain, yeah.
Supply chain.
I have a minor in automotive technology, so like I said, I'm going to work for Cummins and hopefully end up there. And I love the auto industry, so I got to be passionate about the product I found in my life, or else I become bored. So.
Well, that's pretty impressive. I took operational management last semester and was happy to get my B. I'm not.
You're like, I'm out. Yeah.
I'm not that kind of business minded. I like other people doing it, not me.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, everyone thinks I'd be in like production or operations, but really, I like to be on the negotiation side of supply chain, negotiating with like raw material vendors or also the logistics and transportation side. So it's like super people oriented. I'm not very good behind a desk, is all it is. So I'm more of the hands-on people person, supply chain side.
So you got well, and you're going to Indianapolis. That's not too terribly far from where all the supply goes for the automotive industry. So
Yeah, I actually went to Detroit about a month ago, and I met with all the companies out there, GM, Ford, and FCA. You back, Austin?
Yeah, dang. Sorry, guys. My internet went down or something.
Oh, really? Yeah, you just froze. We're like, all right, he's done.
Same. I was looking at you guys. I'm like, was it
Yeah.
a bad again or?
Yeah.
I got to screen my phone. Let me grab my phone charger so I don't die.
All right, cool. Is this your house, Austin? Or your office? I didn't hear me. Yeah, Austin's from an area out in Idaho that's literally no one knows about. It's called Hamer. Right, Austin? Hamer's just that? Like nobody lives in Hamer. Am I right?
Yeah, dude. Population's so small.
It's out in the middle of freaking nowhere. It's so funny.
What's it called?
Hamer, Hamer, not to be confused with Hammer.
Okay, and where is this at?
It's out west of Rexburg, like 30 miles.
Oh. Nope, don't have a clue.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm good for now. I apologize. Get heck.
Very good. Let's just crank through this puppy.
We still recording?
Yep, we're still recording.
Sorry, Brother Neverker. Okay, so anyways, so let's vote. Should Doug accept the turn offer, yes or no? I said no.
Which one are we on? Kozman, right? Okay.
Yeah, so
I put no as well.
This is when Turn's offering him, I think, $4 million to get out of the company, or he can just keep going. They're bringing on Tom Shields anyways. So I said no, that he should not accept the offer.
I also know that he should not take it.
I'm in agreement. I mean, it sounds good, makes his life easy, but I think if he just holds out for another year or two, he's going to really make the money.
I agree. Totally. Cool. So says, so start your discussion with those who say Doug should accept the offer. If no one votes for that option, come up with a reason why he should take the offer, even if nobody thinks it's a good idea.
Why he should take the offer?
Yeah, why would he want to?
Well,
so I guess
go ahead.
Go ahead. So I think the appealing things would be just like cash out. You know, and like can you imagine in his shoes, right? You're like having this idea of like a software company, and all of a sudden someone comes out and is like, "Oh yeah, we'll pay $2 million for common stock and $2 million for preferred." Just be like, "Holy crap, man! I don't do anything yet. Like I'm set." And so yeah, sure, like that's no matter what, it's like Austin plan A and like even better plan B. You know what I mean? It's like dude, your life's already changed. So I mean, I think that's a pro. That's kind of cool. No matter what, his life is going to be better.
I mean, if you think about it, how many is what, a year of work maybe, right? Give or take. So
nothing. If
you talk with $4 million for a year's worth of work, I'm saying that's not too terribly bad.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I think is, I mean, his wife would love that, right? I mean, it talked like his family didn't really want him to. They would love to have the cash and just be done with it. Mm-hmm. So that's one part too, is that he could just walk away and be done with it. So the family making the wife happy, I think, and then obviously he doesn't have to do the work anymore. He just gets to walk away, which is nice.
Yep, I agree.
Sweet. Okay, so allow those who think he should take the offer. The same thing. Okay. What are your arguments with evidence Did I read that right? So if no one votes for that option, come up with reasons why he should take the offer, even if nobody thinks it. Allow those who think he should take the offer to voice their opinions. Okay, it's the same thing. So support your arguments with evidence and analysis. And then how much money will Doug receive? So it talks about $4 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. 2 million for common stock, 2 million for preferred.
And then it says here, as a group, realize that it's likely that nobody had a fully correct answer to answer this, but here's some hints. So since half the buyout offer is in cash, you need to treat it as a cash sell and give the investors 2 times their investment in cash. And then it says, since half the buyout offer is preferred stock, you need to treat the other portion of the buyout as stock and give investors 25% of the proceeds from the preferred shares.
Mm-hmm.
Doug's payment is whatever is left over after paying back his investors both the cash and the stock.
Mm-hmm.
So it says $4 million, but it is actually going to be a lot less than $4 million.
It is.
Well, what was it? I'm trying to remember
what,
what was the-
500,000?
Yeah.
25%.
Say that again, sorry.
So like from preferred stock, then like 25%, if I understand correctly, that'd be like 500,000 only.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So he'd give investors 25% of the proceeds from the preferred shares. So he'd give up 500,000.
And so how much? I'm sorry, how much was it that they gave? 300,000, right? Initially, so they 2 times that. So they get $600,000 in cash, and $500,000 in preferred stock. Am I right?
I'm not following.
Since half your buyout offers in cash, you need to treat the cash and give the investors 2 times their investment in cash. The investors had $300,000, right?
Well, it's talking about how much they're buying it out for, like looking at the 4 million spectrum, I think.
Yeah,
I know, but he has to give back his investors. There was already investors in. The turn came in, so he has to pay those $300,000 back. Isn't that correct?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying.
So what it is how much will come out of this. So there's the 300,000. You have to give them 2 times their money back. So there's $2 million in cash. So they would get $600,000 in cash. So he get $1.4 million in cash, and then he would get and then $1.5 million in preferred stocks.
Okay, yeah, if that's the case, then yes, I totally understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if that's what they mean by that, then you're exactly right. So he'll be getting how much total?
So that'd be $1.4 million in cash and 1.5 in preferred. So so all said and done, 3.1. No, I'm
3 million, right?
Yeah,
just under 3 million.
600,000 and 500. No,
2.9.
Thank you. Minus 6. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, $2.9 million for a year's worth of work.
Yeah.
And then again, that's the stock, so he doesn't have to exercise in selling the stock at that time. So he's walking away with, that's not too terribly bad.
Yeah.
Because if the company in turn takes that company and makes it more, he can still make a pretty penny.
The thing about it, though, like you think about it, if he got $3 million, think about how fast. $3 million is a lot, but it really isn't. Like, think about how fast you can burn through $3 million. You go buy a house that's like $600,000, right?
Right.
I mean, you could burn through that pretty fast. Versus if he waited out, he would have so much more money. Versus trying to pay out everybody right now.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's why I said no. Obviously, I agree. But like on the other side, right, just for controversy,
yeah.
The only thing I could see is like if he has another idea. Like, can you imagine something similar? It's like, okay, cool, sell out. Honestly, like for those of us that are students, dude, we've been living on like what, $4,000 a semester or something, like nothing. And so we're like, okay, cool. Do you know what we could do with $3 million, man? Like, yeah, you could burn through it quick, but like, what if we chose to invest, or we had it planned out? We knew what we would do with $3 million. You know. You could live off the freaking interest.
Yes.
You know? And then if you had that second idea, sure. But like I said, I agreed with no, he shouldn't take it. Like I'm like, no, you can make it way bigger. if you just put a little work into it. But yeah, I agree. You could burn through $3 million if you, I knew somebody who won a lady that works for my dad. Her parents won the lottery. It was gone within like years, man. Gone.
Oh, yeah.
And it was millions and millions. Everyone, like all their kids got BMWs, they bought a new house. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? It's gone.
Well, that's good. I thought he'd lose more than that from this, but yeah, 3 million is still quite a bit though, huh?
Yeah. 3.9, and like I said, he still has preferred stock, so he doesn't have to exercise selling that until the company. So he still has $1.5 million of equity in the company per se.
True. Yeah, true.
You know,
that's true.
But here's another thing with this is $1.5 million in that company. At this given rate, it's a preferred stock, so he gets, and if he plays the cards right, you can take that preferred money and then loan yourself the money, cash. You can take that money and then you can hold that preferred stock as collateral, and you can start investing into other things, pay it back. The thing though too is the preferred stock is still increasing in value if the company isn't. But in the meantime, you can take that money out and then invest in anything and then return the money back into the preferred. And therefore, you can make it work to being. He can start up another company and still have the preferred stock as collateral. I don't know all the math about it. There are some sweet things when you can do with preferred stock.
Totally. I agree. That's a good point. So let's switch gears.
I'm still in it with he should stay though.
Yeah, right. Let's switch gears then. So it says how much. So Shields, bringing him on as a CEO, right? Maybe he's a co-founder. Says how much does Shields deserve? He wants half equity, right? He wants to be a co-founder in the deal, right?
Right. He wants 50%.
Yeah.
He said would be worth it for to leave his job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah. I mean, if he's going to grow his company, that makes sense. And if not, something similar, right, 5%, because like I can see the benefits to not being exactly 50, right? We all understand that. So it's like, okay, cool. I'll get you close money-wise, like 49 to 45%, but I want to be like 51% owner or 55%. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that would be something that I would do, but I don't know.
That's a good point.
But I guess what I'm always, before I even shout out, I would ask Shield to come up with, with an amazing projection on how he can increase, because I'm willing to get 50% or 50% minus 0.1%, so I still have the controlling interest. But I would, before I even negotiate, Shield has to do his due diligence and tell me why you can make my company worth me giving up half my company to you. So.
Right. I think so. For the next question, like what's an alternative? I kind of put something similar to that. I was like, okay, I'd offer him like 40% equity. But then like if I offered him 40% equity, I'd say I'd give him an opportunity 7 years down the road based on performance to increase that percentage of equity. It's like, okay, you've proved yourself. Let's get up to 49 or 50 or you know what I mean?
That's true.
If that's even possible, but that's what I'm.
No, you can do a buy-in. In the contracts, you can always say, "Hey, I'll give you 25% in the first year, irrevocably." So you walk away after the year, you get 25%. It's contracts to making sure because then he's going to work even harder. If you give me X, get these benchmarks, I'll go from 25 to 35 to 45, but you'll never get 50%.
That's a good point. You guys thought about it different than I did on it.
No, I didn't. This is all new. I totally think differently now.
So, yeah, I was thinking that Tom probably only deserves about 35%. And the reason I thought that is just because Doug started out the whole company. He got it where it is. It's already worth $4 million. And to give half that up right off the get-go, I think he needs to have a good chunk. And as we've had this conversation, I'd probably offer about 40%, just because the more equity he does have, the more invested he'll be on trying to make it successful as well. So I see the value in that. But I was thinking just because of Doug's hard work already that he ought to definitely get a fair amount lower. But I think you guys have brought a new insight, so I think it's good.
Cool.
So the next part says, why does Washing want Doug to reject the turn offer? Now, Washing is, let's say that, right, Washing?
He's a silent partner at this time. He just basically brought money in to help Doug start up. And this is actually, I think this is sort of sleazy in a way, because if he turns it down and gets Shield on, he gets Doug to turn it off because he wants him to take Shield's offer because he's going to get bought out by that other company, I can't think, Premier or something like that, and he gets $2 million to walk away right now, and they'll take over his interest, but only if Shield is on board.
You're gonna have to explain that to me then.
Because in the case study, Washing was offered to walk away. There's an investment company called Premier, I think, and they were going to give him $2 million if Shield stays on board. Well, if he takes Turn's offer, that means he doesn't get Shield. He doesn't get his $2 million out of the deal.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So he wants Shield to stay on, right?
Yeah,
right.
Shield to stay on. He wants him
Or become part of the team.
to reject Turn, take Shield on. I mean, that I don't know how much he's willing to give him, but he says he wants Shield because he won't get to sell out because he's 60-something years old. He doesn't want to play the game anymore. He just wants to get his money. He invested and he wants to get his money out and leave. He doesn't want to bank it hard.
I thought Doug was, or I'm sorry, Washing. I thought he was an investor for Doug.
Yeah,
is that
he's in the notes? It says he's a co-founder.
Oh, I didn't realize he was a co-founder. I thought he was just an investor that they were doing the series investing with.
Yeah,
gotcha. Okay. So it says, will Washing get a pretty good return on his investment?
If they continue, like I feel like he would.
But I think he's also old. He wants to get his money out now and
move on.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think he wants Shield because I think he wants interest for Doug to be happy and everything, and be successful. So he's like, take Shield on as a benefit to you. I get a benefit because the people who want to buy my stake want to make sure Shield as the CEO.
So help me understand for sure then. So Washing wants to reject the turn offer of $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he wants to, I guess I'm missing the reason why he'd want to reject that.
Because he's getting first one out always gets their money for sure.
Okay.
So this Premier is willing to give him $2 million just to buy his interest in
only Washing.
Just Washing.
I see.
Because this deal has happened with Washing. But Washing is going to bring this an investor basically, giving the same kind of money. So really he's not, but I don't get how it all works out because Turn should be offering the money to both Washing and Doug, but I don't know. I'm not going to delve too much into that. It's maybe a separate issue and everything. So Doug is basically the acting founder, and so he gets to decide if he wants to keep Shield, take Turn, or whatever. And Washington is wanting to make sure that Doug turns down Turn so he'll take Premier and get Shield on board.
Gotcha.
So walk away.
That makes more sense. For some reason I could have sworn that Doug was the only founder. I didn't realize that Washing was a co-founder.
Yeah, it's in the you unless you read the very end at the exhibits, it actually says co-founder. It doesn't say that anywhere else.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Cool. So then it says, why held out for more, and how much does Washington give up if Doug gives Shields 50% of the equity? So why hold out for more? I think that's kind of almost an obvious question, right? Because if you hold out for more, Well, maybe it isn't so obvious, I guess.
Well, honestly, so I think I kind of semi-argue the Washington thing. I remember reading as well that I'm pretty sure Washington was an investor from Colorado or something, and
I thought so.
he had heard about Cosman later from one of his friends or whatever, and then he was like founding a different thing, like I don't know, some investor firm, I think, out in Boulder. And then they met, is what I thought. And I thought it was like after he came up with the idea of Yieldex, but I don't know. I don't know how much it became like an actual founder. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's what I thought. Maybe I thought I maybe read it wrong. I don't know.
Either way, I mean, obviously, like he was there from the beginning and like a bottom player. So,
yeah.
What's the next question?
So the next question asks, why hold out for more? And then it says, how much is Washington? So I guess we should ask that. So it says, won't Washington get a pretty good return on his investment? We said, yeah, he would, right? But why hold out for more? Because it could be a ton more. I mean, if he does hold out and it is successful, what he has right now could be a lot more if he holds out, right?
Yeah. I think Washington will get a lot. Like I said, I don't know how much of a founder he is, but I know that that's what it was to invest, but personally he wanted to. I think because of that, like he would get a good amount. I almost want to like look it up, but I remember reading like he had a big discount because he like did he invested the original amount. So like if they sold out, I think he would get a good cut. But if they continued, I think like because we haven't really talked about that, but continuing, we've touched on it briefly. He'd be able to grow it if you put like little work into it, a little more than a year. You know what I mean? Ran it for 5-10 years. And we all know how the software industry is growing at an exponential rate nowadays. If it's something that's actually good, man, that thing will explode. And who knows the potential of the company at that point?
Mm-hmm. It's true. Okay, so the next question says, how much does Washington give up if Doug gives Shields 50% of equity? I don't know the straight answer to that, but I know that when Doug gives up equity, it's also going to affect all the investors. I mean, by a big chunk, in fact.
I'm sorry, what question are we on now? It
says, how much does Washington give up if Doug gives Shields 50% of the equity?
Jeez, I don't know the straight answer for that. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't either. I know it's a good amount, but I don't have it.
How much does Washington give up if Doug?
How much would Washington give up?
So Washington, yeah, I mean, Doug's giving up half, right? And so whatever equity that Doug owns, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. Here's the thing: is Washington's just venture. He doesn't have actual equity, unless they want to exercise convertible debt.
I think he does have equity though.
Does he?
I think in one of the exhibits it showed that he gained equity, right?
Okay, I'm in it.
Man, yeah. For some reason, I remember I'm like reading through this again, but I remember talking about like how Washington was there saying like they were ready to bring on a new CEO. You know what I mean? And like keep going through the investment rounds and getting financing and whatnot. But I don't remember what his percentage was.
All I see here is in the descriptions of the people who are in there. I think it talks about Tom Washington. It says he's a partner, Sequel Venture Partners, and then you go down to the partners, TBD. He's got $500,000. So I'm just assuming that syndicated partners is Washington. Got $500,000 in.
Gotcha.
And because Sequel, that's what it is. is the other company that wants to buy. He wants to buy Tom Washington's for $2 million. Because that's in right there. It talks about proposed financing on page 4.
Right. So do we know how much you'd give up if he gave up 50%?
Well,
There's a hold on. We can figure it out. Give me 1 second.
because my calculation says if you were to do
my Yildex.
yeah, it talks in Yildex on the exhibit 4. Both of them have 50%. Well, not 50-50 because the common stocks is also given to employee option pool, so which equates to 9%. So both of them would have 45.5% of the stocks as it is right now. If there is no conversion. Now, if you do a conversion, it goes down to about each of them, because it talks about it right there that they both own equal amounts of shares. So Doug loses nothing. But and to Washington, though, and Sequel, they have, first off, they have 1,556,000, and then they get a 25%, I believe. So hold on, let me get I actually have this all written up. Hold on.
You see this?
Hold on. No, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense there? I found this. Somebody did this on YouTube there.
Yeah. That's actually what I was just looking at in Exhibit 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Washington had
42%.
156,000 in the total investment.
Say that again. Sorry.
So Tom Washington had, it said only 3%, which is $156,000 total investment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that's what he would give up. He'd basically be giving up 42%, like Joseph was saying, because the rest is employee option, right? And the other ones are to the angel investors. So would he give up like 3% then, or less?
So you give up 3 plus 5 is 8%. You give up 8%.
Yeah.
It's
So
right.
you give up how much?
About 8%, because you have right here, you see right there, there's Tom Washington Sequel right there, 3% on the Series A investment. And then through the math and everything, and then through the other one, they had invested $2 million. And then here it is. So it's now, so they're at 5% and 3%. So you I think I'm trying to.
Well, that's for Series B.
That's 5%.
That's 5%. Geez, man, I wasn't ready for that question. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Does that make sense then? About 5% then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's move on. So the next question says here, can Doug use the turn offer to his advantage if he rejects it? I would think yes. I mean, he has every reason to use that, because somebody comes at him and says, well, why would we offer you anything for this? You say, well, this company thinks it's worth $4 million. We can cash it in for that. He can use that as leverage.
Oh, absolutely. Especially that early on. That's what I think I put in my answer, actually. I'm like, are you kidding me? They offered that much that early on, and you haven't even done anything yet. Like, dude, clearly this is going to, I've got a golden opportunity in my hands, you know?
Yep. Okay, and then click here to read the B case as a group. And then, wow.
How big is, oh my, wow.
Page and a half.
Oh, my goodness.
You want the first paragraph there?
Oh, yeah. Is there any way you can zoom this puppy in? No?
All of us are like, what?
Dude, I mean, I've got pretty good eyes, but that is rough. There we go. All right. Yep. You can stop there. That's awesome. All right. It was December 2007, and Yeldex CEO Tom Shields was driving to the company Boulder, Colorado office to meet with his co-founder Doug Kozman. Since becoming the CEO of Yeldex in October 2007, Shields commuted from the Bay Area to meet with Kozman and the engineering team on a weekly basis. Kozman almost sold Yeldex for $4 million in September 2007, but after an agonizing internal debate, he decided to forego the quick exit and hire Shields to help him pursue the additional financing and grow the fledgling company. Shields and Kozman had been negotiating an equity split when the unexpected offer came in, and they were close to an agreement in which Shields hoped to receive 50% of the pre-Series A common shares. Shields had pressed Kozman to turn down the offer, but that came with a price to Shields. He ultimately agreed to take 40% of the common, while Kozman held on to the remaining 60%. Kozman then sold 20% of his common stock to the company to take out some cash. Well, that's funny. Austin and I were just talking about that. Anyway, both Shields and Kozman were diluted in the Series A round that closed several days after Shields joined the company. Sequel Ventures partners led the round with a $2 million investment, and they were joined by first round capital, $500,000, and angel investors that converted their seed notes into Series A shares and invested additional money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I understand this for sure.
Okay.
That's crazy. That's what we were talking in our. I put in my answer that you should, find some way to be able to cash out so you can get some cash on hand to grow the company and survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did.
So he ultimately agreed.
Okay.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. All right. You want to read that, Joe?
Sure. When Shields joined as CEO, Kozman became the company's chief technical officer, reporting to Shields. Kozman explained, I was not interested in leading a team of engineers on a day-to-day basis, but I wanted to be the technical leader of the company. Kozman had converted 3 contractors to full-time employment and hired 2 more in the last few months. And both he and Shields thought they needed to be led by an experienced vice president of engineering, VPE. Shields met with several candidates for VPE position during November and quickly realized that he and Kozman had different perspectives of the qualifications of the ideal candidate. Kozman preferred someone with deep technical expertise in internet and advertising and software who would immediately understand how this technology related to the system already in the industry. And in fact, he hoped to promote one of the Yeldex employees who had been working with Kozman on the Yeldex solution over the last year and had previously been team lead. Shields, however, preferred deep management experience on software development in small companies. He was comfortable hiring someone who had not worked in the internet and advertising as long as the individual had a track record of managing high productive startup teams to achieve aggressive development milestones.
That's cool.
Okay.
Shields knew that the issue would come to a head this week. He had recently met a Boulder-based candidate, John Baird, who can highly recommend him, from Sequel partner Tom Washington. Barr had a strong track record with multiple successful startups. He'd been a CTO at his last 2 companies, but he was willing to join Yeldex as the VP, also reporting to Shields. Shields believed Barr was a good fit, and he was ready to hire him. But Kozman was troubled by Barr's unfamiliarity with several of the key components of the Yeldex solution. He wondered how Baird could manage a software platform that he didn't fully understand. Kozman was also concerned that Baird seemed to be questioning the skills and output of some of the employees that he hired. As Shields pulled up to the Yeldex offices, he thought about the implications of hiring Baird against Kozman's wishes. He was comforted by Washington's support of Baird, as he knew that Kozman respected Washington's perspective. Nevertheless, he wondered how Kozman and Baird would interact as these 2 leaders of the Boulder office, and how it would work when the 5 engineers that Kozman had hired began to report to Baird. Shields knew that this group would have to work closely together in Boulder while the jump started the sales and marketing efforts of the company out of the Bay Area. Kozman had architected the Yeldex software, and Baird would need his support to manage the team effectively. Shields respected Kozman's desire to keep looking at other candidates, but he needed to fill his position so he could refocus his efforts, and he was impressed with Baird's credentials.
Oh boy.
All right.
So this is what happened here, huh? So Doug Cosman, Tom Shields, other employee pool.
So he ended up settling with 40%. That's crazy. And
I
then
know.
he gave 20% cash out, sold his common stock.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's go back to the questions.
Okay.
You can see those?
Mm-hmm.
So read that. Should Tom hire Bear?
No,
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't. From what I understood, he doesn't have a quite grasp of what's going on, and I mean, that's just my. I don't have any more than that.
I think no, just because of the divide between Tom and Doug. If they're not going to agree on it, any issues that happen, and it'll be like, see, I told you not to hire him. It'll be like, well, we had to. And I just think it'll be a sore spot. Unless he turns out really, really good, I think it could be a divide between them. If they don't have the same vision, the same mindset, it's going to be a divide.
It's almost like setting them up to fail or something. I agree.
Yeah. All right. All those said yes,
Sure.
to go to the first and then ask these opposing viewpoints. Well, nobody said yes. So consider how the discussion will affect the following: company culture, leadership team, investors relationship.
I don't think there's much really given if the company culture has been developed with knowledgeable staff, and then you bring a person who doesn't have the depth knowledge, then it can dissolve. You can dissolve some of the culture that's there. Leadership, investors. I don't think the investors really care as long as there's the actual results that they so hope desire.
I agree.
Yeah, I know that you even talked about it in that video. But I mean, it's a little different. But just learning about investors, it's like, well, honestly, like some of them don't even care because they'll just cash out with the assets even if it fails. So
Yeah.
culture, like company culture, like yeah, whatever, as long as either be awesome or just cash out quick.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, and going on to leadership team, I mean, this said that basically you'll have Bear be over a lot of people that Doug hired. Well, if they're not all on the same page and Doug hired people for a certain reason and Bear has a whole different mindset, man, it's going to mess up the leadership. The leadership's not going to be united. It's not going to be strong. And leadership is what runs a company. So if you have a mixed leadership that has contention, you're in trouble.
Yeah. All right, now we read C case. Holy cow, this one's huge, man.
All right.
It's taking forever.
I'm going to be, I got to head out in a few minutes to pick up my daughter. So.
All right, let's just crank through C case again.
Okay.
Still got home plate left, huh? Yeah.
Hopefully it'd be easier.
You guys see this?
Okay. Yeah. That's it?
6 months, wow, 6 months later, email from Bar.
What?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Right. I mean, we can't be held responsible if they didn't load everything, so this has got to be it.
That continues to be disruptive. It's out. What the heck?
Tom Doug showed his signs that he holds which I should have his team wasn't functionally and has been replaced for me today to do the right.
What the?
Whoa. All right. That's aggressive.
Yeah.
All right, let's answer the question. What? Okay.
Hold on here. Is that really it?
That's crazy. I think that is. So I think what it's saying, because it's asking what does do the right things for the company mean? Should Tom fire Doug? Does Zelix need Cosman anymore? What value does Doug bring to the company now that they have his algorithm? How could Doug have avoided getting into this situation? Do you want to change your minds about the buyout now? That's crazy, man. So I do agree. This is kind of the cutthroat perspective. On a business side, yeah, if they're showing true facts, right? I mean, we're just looking at one email, so obviously this is invalid, an invalid argument. But if that's truly the case, then it's like, yeah, CEOs or founders get pushed out, sometimes for the company to survive. Totally understand that, even though it is his baby, like that's what happens. But when the question comes, like, how could Doug have avoided this situation? He should have hired the right people, man. He brought Shields on, and Shields is the one now in charge of this. So it's like, well, this is your choice. Like, this is what was created.
He almost shot himself in the foot, didn't he? Because he said, you know what? Like, I have this great idea, but I don't have the leadership capabilities to like make it work. So I'm just going to hire someone on that can lead it. And I'll just like work for him. It's like, really?
What would you expect?
Yeah, like, of course, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get overtaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess there's a perspective there. Maybe Doug should have did a little bit more due diligence and make sure the contract that was written for Shield against Shield was a little bit more protective to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, in my perspective, I would say I'm going to go off in the last question. Do you want to change your minds about the buyout now? I don't know. I mean, I'm not seeing the great money that was supposed to happen. I still don't see where Shield is of great value.
Well, I mean,
going back to our earlier answer, though, if he would have only given Shields 30%, 40%, he could have maintained all the shares and not had a co-founder that made decisions, right?
Yeah.
Like, if he would have maintained ownership of the company, he wouldn't have this issue.
Yeah, I think a lesson from Nike, Phil Knight, he controlled. Not many people know this. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Phil Knight owns still the controlling stock. He owns more than half the company still.
Wow.
For that reason, no one could push him out.
Mm-hmm.
And for what good reasons? If you've ever read he was smart to do that because he would have been pushed out by a lot of his co-founders with him. So.
Right.
That's crazy to me. I think that like changing the buyout, like in hindsight, if you didn't make that 4 million or 3 million, let's say, yet, and it's like, yeah, you should have just sold out, man, because like Austin said, you shot yourself in the foot, and
Well, that's what I'm saying is I would have said to Shield, I have $3 million after I paid everybody back. $3 million in my pocket in a week. If I want to exercise my preferred stock, $3 million. Can you make me $3 million can you make me $5 million in 1 year?
Yeah.
You should do his other analysis on what he could do with that money. Start up another company or invest in another company that can give you good returns, that has solid returns. Because Shield still, like I said, I have not seen any figures where Shield is coming in and saying, yeah, I can do this. So, I mean, he's got a good track record. He made $300 million off his company that he sold or something like that.
Right.
Is that what he's thinking? He's thinking that Shield's going to do the same thing for his company? I don't know.
Well, he might, just not with him.
True. I'm changing my mind now.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Home plate. So share with the answers that you got in the home plate study, and there's discrepancies, work them out. So let's just hurry and go over our answers, and we will conclude this board discussion.
All right, let me just get my answers out.
Here, I'll just start going too. So it said create a capitalization table, talking about everything. Oh, all right, I guess you can show, huh? Because you're already sharing your screen.
Yeah, everybody can share screen. So hold on, where is mine? Home plate.
That's the blank one.
There we go.
Yep. That wasn't it. So hold on. All right.
Is that what you guys got in number one?
Hold on. Let me just look at what you're.
Yep, that's what I have.
Yep.
Okay, 1B.
We just.
Yeah. Wait. I'm missing something here. Oh, 1B. Yeah. Okay, cool. I was looking at 2.
You
So
got
my
that?
1B and my 2 is the same as you.
Okay.
Number 2.
Yep. Same.
Yep.
Okay. Now this one is one I was a little bit on, but
That's what I got.
Same.
is it?
Yep.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Same.
I didn't get those. Mine was a little bit different.
What'd you do?
I got 41% for Lexi. Angel Investors was 9% and 50% for Potato Rock.
How'd you get these numbers?
How do you get the Angel?
The Angel, well, hold on, let me get my numbers up. Angel. So they bought $50,000 and the price share was $2.25 because it was 10% off of the 250. They get a 10% discount off of the 250 for Potato Rocks. So I did, and then in order for divide, I took the 50,000 divided by the total investment, which is so they come out with 22,222 stocks. And then,
I had that before.
huh?
I think I had that before, but I changed it.
So you went off of a 10% discount off the 250
Yep.
instead of 90 cents.
Yep.
Because I
Even though
went
they said
10% off the dollar because of up here.
I just did it because that's what they were going off of. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Per problem.
Oh, yeah. I was mixed up on that too. That's why I had that one before, but then I changed it because it said $1 above, and I just went off that assumption, I guess.
I see.
I have the same as Austin, though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not just what you guys' numbers are correct. If it's just what information, I guess we're both. It's not. I think what's more important, if the math is right, because we know what we're doing, is more important than if the number is right, because it's the information we're getting.
I think I got the same number as you before too. Like I think we all just did correct math, but we just went off different assumptions. So there's no way we don't get credit for that, you know?
Right.
All right, 5. So how does the convertible debt?
So Lexi loses ownership, and right because she loses ownership, and then Angel share is affected in positive ways. It gains 1%, venture capital stays the same.
Yep, because the angel investor generates more shares with their original investment value just because of the discount.
Yeah.
Cool. And 6, which option should Lexi choose for the seed round based on your analysis? I put 3 because after looking at it, even though 2 gave more ownership, 3, you don't actually start getting, she doesn't start getting true funding until venture capitalists is involved. You know what I mean? So in order to have like exponential growth and be able to like move some real bricks, that's what she'd have to do. So that's why I went with 3. And then she's still able to maintain it. I think I had it 37%.
That's exactly what I wrote.
Cool.
See, I would have agreed with you guys on that if my math was right and if my math matched with your guys'. So I think we're on the same there.
Cool, we're done. Great.
You want to stop recording?
Yep, I'll stop it.